No, it's crazy because we like were driving up here and we were even talking about his like Eagle Scout experience, and like we know a lot of similar people because like I wasn't an Eagle Scout, but I know friends that like it's a small world, you know.
Hello, this is Samuel McIntosh, the writer and director of Interstate, and I'll be talking a little bit about how we made the film, the influences, etc. for this behind the scenes. The making of this film was really interesting because we spent a ton of time beforehand planning, storyboarding things out, and then when we got there on set, we had one night overnight to shoot it, and we were just rushing through it, doing it, and I think that's what made it feel so good, was that we didn't have much time to think about it. I had to just be very in the moment and moving through each scene quickly in order to get them done. So I think it has sort of a very rushed and a very simple feel to the frames and to the feelings because we had to just do that. And it was already thought about beforehand, so there wasn't much in the way of thinking too much on set. It was just we had to get through it and we had to do it. And I think that really comes across on screen, the simplicity of every frame and every moment. A couple of the films that influenced Interstate there's this Coen Brothers Blood Simple test film that they did to get funding for the film. And it's really interesting because they filmed it while they were working for Sam Raimi on The Evil Dead. And so there's a lot of those really crazy camera movements and very fluid stuff where it's moving around like it did in the woods in Evil Dead. And I didn't necessarily take that for the short film, but it's sort of just the whole vibe of this deed happening out in the middle of nowhere and very indie feeling, very handheld feeling. And I think that's what's really inspiring about Blood Simple. I was definitely influenced by the Coen Brothers overall.
I don't care if you're the Pope of Rome, President of the United States, or Man of the Year. Something can all go wrong.
One of my favorite films by them is No Country for Old Men. So I think there's a lot of that film in this film. I especially love the tension and the thriller aspects of it. And sort of the like ethereal, like it's super grounded, but it feels like there's a suggestion of the supernatural in the villain of that film because he feels otherworldly and he doesn't feel human. So I think I wanted to take that ethereal feel and sort of use it in the opposite way. Instead of making that the dark ethereal feeling, I wanted to go for a lighter ethereal feeling where the world is very dark and grounded and horrible for these two characters. Yet one of the characters has this vision of another life that feels very sci-fi fantasy and feels very like uplifting and beautiful. And it also comes into play the idea of them being at the bottom of the ocean was a big thematic and color influence for me. So I wanted to pair those really harsh, really dingy visuals with very beautiful, very starry, very sci-fi visuals and just see how those kind of played off of each other. This film in a lot of ways was a stepping stone for me, going from the projects I've made my whole life leading up to this, being no budget, often casting friends, doing everything myself, to spending a little bit more money out of pocket on this, bringing in a lot of other talented artists in order to make the piece feel larger than just a one-person endeavor. The DP of this film is my friend Peter Fan, and so much of the visual language of this film is Peter. So much of how beautiful it is and how slow it is and how much the frames speak despite being very simple is all Peter. And even the coloring, he was helping me with the coloring on the back end, and he's very nuanced about colors and what they mean and how they feel. And he helped a lot with the story even. We would sit down together and he would ask me about the story from his perspective. I think that was really important, to be completely open to his ideas and his interpretation of the story. And sort of same thing with Austin Anderson, who did the composing. He had so many different ideas and would fire off. So I was able to reel in and sort of pick and choose all these things that he was bringing to make this collage of what the film was going to sound like. And he really brought that the same way as Peter did in his art to the film. So part of that for me was casting really talented actors like Joseph and Adam for the two main parts in this film. And that process was a long process. It was finding them through casting websites and then meeting up in person and doing chemistry tests. And I think a lot of what this film accomplishes is because of their acting. And Joseph, who played Kurt, just has such a good look and an aura about him that really embodied the character of Kurt. So I'm glad we were able to work with him and make a really interesting and nuanced character.
We're not near the interstate. We're in the middle of fucking nowhere. We're not near the interstate. We're in the middle of fucking nowhere.
I can't say thank you enough to all the people who helped work on this film. It was really a project that I felt like I had to make. After I wrote it, I just started feeling like this was the next thing that needed to happen, and I just got it rolling, and I'm so thankful that so many of my friends and these great artists that I'm able to work with were so supportive and interested in it. And I hope that I can keep that energy moving forward in my future projects as well. And thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed Interstate, and I hope you enjoyed hearing a little bit more about the making of the film.
The calm before the storm, Sam.